What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Mo Williams tuning back in. We back in the truck, of course. This is where I've been recording lately. This is where, we unwind that, pull our stuff together. I definitely appreciate all the support. And like I said, this is more or less like a mental diary at this point, You can't take nothing with you, but you can always leave something behind if something happened to you. So, I just want people to understand that there's plenty of ways to give back, but you may be wondering, what are we talking about today? I think that communication errors is probably one of the most dangerous things that can occur in the world. And there's two major ones that I notice that happen all the time. And if people would just address it and build off of it, and they'll understand each other a lot better. So one of the two is knowing when someone is looking for advice versus when they want you to listen. And that takes time to figure out. But one thing you hardly ever hear somebody say is, hey, do you want me to give you advice or do you want me to listen? And I think it can be that simple. A lot of times people is trying to figure out where someone is coming from, what angle they want to take. But sometimes people just want you to listen. They already got it figured out. They're not looking for nobody to convince them what to do, what not to do. And it goes two ways. So that person the person who's relaying the message has to be more clear in their expectations. Meaning, if y'all don't have that bond, or if this person care about you and you're dealing with somebody who always want to fix something, you kind of got to warn them, like, hey, I just want you to listen. I already got the pieces put together, but we're not mind readers. And the person who's listening, you gotta, if you're truly friends or anything, be okay with start asking people like, hey, do you need advice or do you want me to listen? There's a difference between a vent and just listening. And also, if you want to be a good listener, always be calm, never be judgmental, be real, and I'm gonna say it again, don't judge. Because a good listener, I actually lost my thought, I got it. Don't listen to reply, listen to understand. Communication suffers so much on a day-to-day basis off a simple thing. Simple, small miscommunication can destroy literally whole nations. Like anything with communication errors. So let's take it further to what I believe is the worst form of communication, which is texting. You got to know what type of person you're dealing with, okay? So you may not be dealing with a texter. People take this stuff wrong all the time. You might be dealing with somebody who like to talk on the phone. You might not be dealing with a person that like to be on the phone. You might be dealing with somebody who want to be on FaceTime. You may not be dealing with someone who like their phone at all and they like in-person interactions. Why in the getting to know each other phase do we not ask this question? Because if a person is a bad texter, and not a bad texter, they're just not glued to their phone, which is healthy for your eyes and your mental health, constantly having your phone in your hand, which I'm a victim of, will teach you how distracted you are, and you'll miss more things than what you're supposed to. But why did I say this? Because a lot of times, people, especially if they feel like you should be showing interest or if they're pursuing you or something like that. I'm married. I'm not in that phase no more, thank God, because it's ghetto out here. But anyway, a lot of times, a girl may not text back the way you want them to, or a person may not text back. They might be busy, and people think you're not interested. But, I mean, in the case of some people, they don't even text their own parents back. I like to use real life situations, but that kind of happened with my mom and my wife, where my mom believed like I should have built a better relationship with her. And I'm like, Mama, my wife doesn't respond to my in-laws most of the time. She's not the texting type. She don't like to keep her phone in her hand all day. She's a reserved person, so it has nothing to do with you. There's sometimes I might text my wife, and she's very task-oriented. She's very focused. Me, I like distractions. You give me a distractions with the procrastinator personality, and I'm gonna find a way to push it off until later. But the biggest text flaw that I see is sometimes people read text messages in a voice that wasn't sent in. And if you've been texting somebody for years and understand how they work, how they operate, then you can jump the gun. But if you don't really understand that person's communication style, or you haven't developed a relationship or dealt with them long enough to know how they talk on the good days, the bad days, you will misinterpret people. I don't care how positive a person is, they're going to have these days. And, I learned at 31 that you want to be rooted in faith within something. I just hope that at this point, everybody believes in something, because it's a different type of world out here. I call myself Mo Manifest, but really, you can manifest things when you have a belief system that matches it, and you believe in something that's greater than you, and you're willing to make those universal deposits, or just those deposits into the karma bank and stuff like that. And you want to be able to withdraw at some point. You don't want to be the person that's taking to the point where you overdraft the karma bank, because it's like the RS. When it comes, there's nothing you can do about it. But a good person will make mistakes out of just being too good of a person. That doesn't make you a bad person because you might have made some not so great decisions. You're still a good person at heart. It's just you're too good of a person. And I always tell people, if you too, T-O-O, of anything, if you too much, if you too less, if you too this, that's the only time it's bad. That goes back to our last episode. Never be too high, never be too low. Stay somewhere in the middle. So to wrap all of this up, communication can destroy a nation. Communication can rule a nation. If you look at all great leaders, and not so great, but dictators, cult leaders, presidents, you name it, top performing athletes, activists, all of that, all the great speakers in the history, they had a way of communicating that made people feel like, despite the flaws that they may have, that this person was believable and that this person was worthy of being followed. We're experiencing that right now in the nation, where a person who openly said years ago that I'm gonna run Republican because they'll be crazy enough to vote for me. And that belief in self, although a lot of people hate the president, I think hate is a strong word, but I understand. I have no political opinions, right? But that self-belief that this person, our current president, has displayed, if more people was crazy enough to believe in themselves that much, they can accomplish a lot of things. So as the yin and yang, as above, so below, there's some good in the bad and there's some bad in the good. It's never going to be perfect. These are some trying times, and I leave you with this. The devil is at work, but remember, there's only one true creator. And as far as we know, God created the devil, and the devil does not have the power to create anything, meaning the only way the devil can have power in your dominion is if you give him access. So stop saying things like the devil is working, because that's a way of giving glory. Maybe God is just giving you a challenge. Once again, I'm Mo Manifest. This is Give 'Em Mo Podcast, but we in the off season, and I'm just in my truck giving my opinions before I go in the house. Y'all have a good day.